Hey guys, hi everybody at MikeBuilder.com. I'm Thomas Lang and I'm here with Adam Murphy, who's the Artist Relations Manager for Remo. And we're here at the Remo factory in Valencia, California, and Adam's going to give me a tour.
So behind me here is where all the aluminum for our channels are made on the drum heads. It comes in as raw material and gets put on the spindle back over here. And what it does, once it goes through this spindle, it goes through this other machine on the side that turns it into a U shape and also gives it the diameter of the drum head. So this gives it its diameter, it gives it its U shape, and it also stamps a little letter and two numbers on the inside of each hoop so that we're able to track what head was made at what time.
Okay.
So what size hoops are these? The 10-inch hoops?
Yeah, these look like 10 inch right here.
Okay. So you coil them in different sizes right here. So
Yep.
This is basically what defines the size right here in the first step of production.
Exactly. So this is where you're getting the size of the hoop.
So Adam, this is phase 2, correct?
Correct. This is where all the Mylar comes in that we make the drum heads out of. Now we do make drum heads out of different types of materials. Mylar is one of them, Welding being another. Kevlar even has little marking heads. But what they do is they come in these large rolls that you see behind us here. Once they're in these large rolls, they then stretch them out and then cut them into sheets. And then from the sheets, they move over to this machine where they click out in the circles with the flip pads.
Let's see what that looks like.
This is a giant press.
Okay.
And they'll place these, as you can see right there,
Yeah.
onto the sheets. And when they click that out, we know that everything inside that circle is the exact same shape.
And you click like 10 or so at one time?
Depending on the thickness of the Mylar. So something like an ambassador that's a 10 mil, you can do more than say like an X14 which is 14 mil.
Right, of course. You can see him click it out now. It's a 15 inch.
That's a 15 inch.
So, these are the heads that have just been clicked out, cut out of the raw material. Now they're in perfect circles. What's this over here? These look like waste.
Actually what they are is they are the rings that go on like Power Stroke 3s or Power Stroke 4s. Anything that gets an inlay on the backside.
Right. Oh, okay. Okay, now we're here at almost the end of phase 2, where each drum head is being hole punched around the rim of the head. Is that right?
Yeah. And what that's for is so that the adhesive, when we put that in the channel, that's something you grab on, that's what keeps it in there, and that's what keeps all of the heads and all the flies free floating.
We'll show you that in a minute, but this is the machine that does it. And all these machines over here as well. Now, we're here still in phase 2, and as you can see here, these have been punched, and these are 2 drum heads, and the holes have been punched through both heads while they're perfectly aligned. And can you explain what the reason for that is?
So what we do from here is once these get the holes in it, these holes are used to hold the drum head into the channel with the adhesive. The next step of this is to take this and make it the shape of a drum head that you're used to, which is what you see right here.
Right.
Now this design is actually what makes our heads far superior to everything else. Now no shell is 100% perfectly round, no counter hoop is 100% perfectly round, and no counter hoop is 100% perfectly round to the shell. They can get very close now, but nothing's perfect. This piece right here is what goes into the channel.
Right.
This other bend that you see at the top here is where the shell, the bearing edge,
sits on the edge.
So you see this little step here?
Yeah.
This takes any awkward tension that you get one way or another on the drum and places on this step.
Okay.
So that it leaves the playing surface of the drum head with equal tension and makes it easier for you to tune.
Right, okay.
So when you put a drum head on, you hear that cracking sound? That's this step releasing right there.
Okay, okay. And the adhesive obviously goes on the bottom side of the drum head. It goes through the hole and it gets layered on the top side of it, so it really bonds the 2 heads together and the heads into the hoop.
That way the heads and the flies can stay free floating.
Right. Okay, now here's something that I think is really, really cool and important. Remo is a totally green company. assembly and then recycle all their waste. So all these bits here that you can see, this is all waste material. If you notice here, this is where the heads are being cut out. And all this gets recycled, and I think Adam, you said this ship is off the company, so you use this to make artificial wool or whatever out of it.
We do everything from turning Mylar back to wood, which is been able to recycle and use Mylar, to actually taking all the packaging that actually comes in different models of tools and reusing it as well. And recycling that.
Great. Okay, so we're here now at step 3 of phase 1, where the hoops are being welded. Adam will explain in a minute. You've seen them being cleaned in the tank, which is step 2 of phase 1. So now, after they've been cleaned for the first time, they come back here. So what's happening exactly, Adam?
Well, you see, it gets injected with the resin, and that resin is what actually is going to go ahead and seal the channels to the surface. On that open channel like you saw.
Right, okay.
It gets injected with the resin, and then gets hit at different angles and at different temperatures all the way around, so we know that it's a solid weld.
Hey guys, I'm shouting, of course, because it's quite loud here, but here we are at step 4 of phase 1. What's happening here, Adam?
So after the drum heads have already been welded together and they're a solid channel, they then go through one more phase of cleaning. You saw back over there, the hoop drum is kind of a gunmetal gray color. As they come out here, it's more of that finished product you used to see.
Here are the different size molds.
So now we're in phase 3 of the production process, and this is where the Mylar meets the hoop, the channel. So Adam, can you explain what's going on here?
Yeah, so all these heads right here are still loose. They're not actually bonded into the channel yet. The machine that you see behind us here injects the resin and actually glues the Mylar into the channel.
So, aside from drum sets and drum heads, Remo obviously also makes percussion, conga heads, bongo heads, etc. So, this is another part of the factory where percussion heads are being made. Can you explain what this is?
Now, the conga heads, the bongo heads, everything like that, it all goes through the same process. The same thing gets quick out, it's the same kind of bending, everything like that. The only difference is the film that we use for conga heads and bongo heads is obviously way thicker.
Yeah, this is incredible. You guys should feel this. This is a conga head. It's a really thick, heavy film, but it's the same material basically. And what about the hoops?
You can see here, instead of being a U shape, they're like a J shape. And the reason why is because congas get so much more tension on them than a regular drum set. We actually go and put the film into here, and it's the same glue like they're used to, and then we take this excess part of aluminum and we bend it over. So that way you can handle even more tension than is needed for the drum.
So Adam, where are we now?
Right now we're at the specialty heads. Now this is where we make anything that is custom, timpani heads, in the odd shape, oversized.
Look at these things. These are obviously giant marching drums or giant bass drums, like for the Rose Bowl parade and stuff like that. I know you've made those before. Look at these. These are probably, I don't know, 80 inches, like this one or more. So you can see these are very special custom heads.
Yeah. Here you can even see the timpanis. The timpanis are, they go through the same process as like all the other drum heads. The only difference is they get different insert rings. There's steel, there's high profile, low profile, there's aluminum, there's open channel.
And all that makes a difference in sound and tunability?
Yeah, and actually in how it actually goes along with the timpani. And different types of timpani need to have different.
Right. What other kind of weird custom heads or?
I've seen these before. These are the heads made for tricks on drums.
Oh wow.
You're doing sort of odd shape. Anything, pretty much if you could think of it.
Look at that, guys. You remember the tricks in bass drums? That's drum head that goes on it.
Exactly.
That's cool. So now we're in an area where all the marching heads are being made, and that's a slightly different process, and I love these heads, and I think it's really, really interesting how they're made. Can you explain what's going on?
Yeah, just like how the conga heads are, obviously marching drums are making higher tension, so what we do is it's got a a different bend to it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of U-shaped bend.
Oh yeah, it goes down and up like that, yeah.
It then gets a steel insert ring that goes into it here.
And that sits in that plastic, in that Mylar channel.
Exactly. And then it gets the same J-shaped hoop that you saw with the Hondas.
Right. Oh yeah, it's a J profile.
Exactly. So you can see them over here. They'll then push that rod all the way down to the bottom of the channel, and then they'll crimp over that excess aluminum.
Right. So these heads are not glued at all, they're only crimped.
That's correct.
And they crimp the aluminum over the steel and
Exactly.
pinch the Mylar between.
Exactly. So that way they can handle more tension.
Right. And these heads have a higher sort of base tension coming from the factory, which means they're slightly quicker to tune up to sort of a good low fundamental. Right?
Exactly. Or even for the case of marching, since they're already at a higher pitch, it takes less tension for them to get them up to that really high pitch.
Right, right. Oh, come closer, guys. So, now, here we are in part of the warehouse, correct? And this is where the finished drum heads are being stacked, and they're not stamped yet. So there's no logo on them yet or anything like that. These are just blank drum heads. And here, from here, Remo are taking specific stock for specific drum companies because, as you may not know, that Remo make drum heads for pretty much all drum companies. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the reason why all these heads back here are blank is because we don't know if they need to get stamped with TW, with Yamaha, with Pearl, with Gretsch. We don't know yet. Or if it's just going to get a regular consumer stamp. There's no difference between the heads that come on those drums and the ones that you buy in the store, other than the store.
Right. So I've heard this before, you probably too, that somebody plays a Yamaha drum set and says, well, I had the Yamaha drum head on it and it just didn't sound right. It was a pinstripe Yamaha head. In fact, that's nonsense, right?
Most of all the heads that we have here now, we do custom things like for DW, where
Right.
it's clear coated on it, or for it's coated in the center, clear on the outside. Those things, of course, but everything else here, like I said,
Exactly. So,
is in the warehouse.
When you get a standard Yamaha stock head on your drums, it's a Remo head.
You'll even see on there,
Made by
Yamaha,
Remo.
made by Remo.
Exactly. So, now here, this is probably the last step of production, right? And finishing of the drum head. What's happening here?
This is actually where they take all the blank heads from the warehouse and they actually stamp them.
Right.
Depending on whether it being the actual drum head going to the consumer, the DW logo,
Right.
the Yamaha logo.
So they just exchange the stamp every once in a while, and these are obviously standard
Yep.
and brand new Remo logos.
Exactly.
Look at that. Bam. 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 Beautiful. And the logo, I just noticed, is slightly different.
Yeah, it's a little bit larger, and we've made it a little bit more concise. So you're able to tell exactly what has been used.
That's great. It's a little more simple.
Exactly.
If we have a look at that drum head over here, you can see the logo is larger than it used to be, and it says very simply Ambassador coated on it. I think it's great. It's beautiful, it's simple, and straight to the point.
That logo is the same size on a 6-inch all the way up to a
Perfect.
36.
Perfect. Here's the last stage, Adam.
Obviously, once we're done with the drum heads, we just have to go and ship them out, so we have to put them in the boxes.
Right.
This machine right here, we have to see the drum heads go in, they get put in the boxes, stacked up over here, and placed either in the MasterCards to be shipped out to big distributors or stores, or straight to stores.
And this is what all of you probably know from the stores, from your local drum store. This is the finished product. It's all ticked, clamped, glued, crimped, and stamped and boxed. And here it is.
And endorsed by Thomas Lane.
And endorsed by me, exactly. Here we are again. We're back where we started. Thank you, Adam. Awesome tour. Just a little bit of an info of how many heads actually go to the factory. Do you have a number for us here?
Roughly 15,000 a year.
Wow, 15,000 drum heads a day. That's pretty amazing. Wow, awesome. Thank you for the tour. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you the next factory tour.